Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. Chapter 8, in which Passepartout perhaps talks a little more than is proper. Fix had in a few moments rejoined Passepartout on the wharf, who was loitering and looking about, not believing that he was obliged to not see anything. "Well, my friend," coming up to him, "is your passport vised?" "Ah, it is you, monsieur," replied the Frenchman. "Much obliged. It is all in order." "And you are looking at the country?" "Yes, but we go so quickly that it seems to me if I was travelling in a dream." "And so we are in Suez?" "Yes, in Suez." "In Egypt?" "You are quite right, in Egypt." "And in Africa?" "Yes, in Africa." "In Africa?" repeated Passepartout. "I cannot believe it." "Just a fancy, sir. And I imagined that we would not go farther than Paris. I thought this famous capital again in 20 minutes after 7, in 20 minutes of 9 in the morning, in the northern station in Lyons station. Though the windows of the cab in the driving rain, I regret it. I would so much like to see the Place Lachaise in the circuit of Champs-Elysees." "You are not, you are then in a great hurry?" asked the detective. "No, I'm not, but my master is. By the by, I must buy some shirts and shoes. We came away without trunks, and carpet bags only. I'm going to take you to a shop where you'll find everything you want." "Monsieur," replied Passepartout, "you are very kind." And both started off. Passepartout talked incessantly. "Above all," he said, "I must not take care to miss the steamer." "You have the time," replied Fix. "It is only noon." Passepartout pulled out his large watch. "Noon? Pshaw! It's 8 minutes of 10." "Your watch is slow," replied Fix. "My watch? A family watch that has come down from my great-grandfather. I don't vary it 5 minutes in the year. It's a Genian chronometer." "I see what is the matter," replied Fix. "You have kept the London time, which is about 2 hours slower than Suez. You must be careful to set your watch at noon in each country." "What? I touch my watch?" replied Passepartout. "Never." "Well, then, it will not agree with the sun." "So much worse for the sun, monsieur. The sun will be wrong then." And a good fellow put his watch in the back of fob with a magnificent gesture. And, a few moments after, Fix said to him, "You left London very hurriedly, then?" "I should think so. Last Monday, at 8 o'clock in the evening, contrary to all his habits, Monsieur Fogg returned to his club, from his club, and in 3/4 of an afternoon afterwards we were off." "But where is your master going, then?" "Right straight ahead. He's making the tour of the world." "The tour of the world?" cried Fix. "Yes, in 80 days. On a wager, he says. But between ourselves, I do not believe it. There's no common sense in it. There must be something else. Is this Mr. Fogg an original genius?" "I should think so." "Is he rich?" "Evidently, and he carries such a fine sum with him in fresh money on the route. He doesn't spare his money on the route. Oh, but he has promised a splendid reward to the engineer of Mongolia, and if we arrive at Bombay considerably in advance." "And you have known him for a long time, this master of yours?" "Aye," replied Passepartout, "I've entered his service the very day of our departure." The effect of these answers naturally produced upon the mind of the detective, already strained with excitement, which easily be imagined. This hurried departure from London so short a time after the robbery, and this large sum carried away, and this haste to arrive in distant countries, this pretext to an eccentric wager, all another effect and confirmed fix of his ideas. He kept this Frenchman talking, and learned to a certainty that this fellow did not know his master at all. He lived and isolated in London. It was called rich without the source of fortune of being known, that it was a mysterious man, etc. But at the time Fix was certainly certain that Phileas Fogg would not get off at Suez, but he was really going to Bombay. "Is Bombay far from here?" asked Passepartout. "Pretty far," replied. "It'll take you 10 days more by sea." "And where do you locate Bombay?" "In India?" "In Asia? Of course. The deuce, I was going to tell you, there's one thing that bothers me. It is my burner." "What burner?" "My gas burner. I forgot to turn it off, which is my burning at my expense. Now I've calculated that it'll cost me 2 shillings each 24 hours, and exactly 6 pence more than I earn. And I understand that however little journey may be prolonged." Did Fix understand the matter of gas? It is improbable. He did not listen any longer, and is coming to a determination. The Frenchman and he arrived at the shop, Fix and his companion there making his purchases, recommending him not to miss the great departure of Mongolia. He returned great haste to consult his office. Fix had regained his coolness completely, and he was fully convinced. "Monsieur," said he to the consul. "I have my man. He is passing himself off as an oddity who wishes to make the tour of the world in 80 days." "And then he's a rogue," replied the consul, "and he counts to return to London after deceived all the police of the two continents." "We will see," replied Fix. "But you are not mistaken?" replied the consul once more. "I am not mistaken." "Then why, then, has this robber insisted that having his stopping at Suez confirmed by Vise?" "Why, I do not know, consul," replied, "but listen to me." And in a few words he related the salient points of this conversation with the servant of the said Fogg. "Indeed," said consul, "all presumptions are against this man. And what are you going to do?" "Send to me at once upon Bombay a warrant of arrest, sail upon the Mongolia, follow my robber to the Indies, and there, on the British soil, accost him politely, with the warrant in one hand and the other hand upon his shoulder." Having coolly uttered these words, the detective took leave of the consul, and repaired to the telegraph office. Thence he dispatched to the commissioner of the metropolitan police. As we have already seen, a quarter of an hour later Fix, and his light baggage in hand, and besides the well supplied with money, went on board the Mongolia, and soon the swift steamer was threading its way under the full hem of steam on the waters of the Red Sea.